They bought 2 Dodge Chargers for a combined total of $2, then destroyed 26 of them. Every jump, every landing, another car gone. The Dukes of Hazzard, 1979 to 2005, 7 seasons, 309 cars, and a film that treated the most iconic vehicle in American television like a prop to be wrecked. 16 facts. One of them is about a conversation that happened through a bathroom wall. Stay for the last one, because the man who started it all sat in the audience and watched someone else drive it. Fact 1. That 18-year-old's name was John Schneider. He was from Westchester, New York. He had never been to the South. The casting directors were looking for a Southern boy in his early to mid-20s. Schneider arrived wearing a cowboy hat, carrying a six-pack, and doing his best impression of an accent he had never grown up with. He told them he was 24. He was 18. He told them he was a certified stunt driver. He was not. Bo Duke, the quintessential Southern boy, was played by a teenager from New York who invented himself entirely on the day. Fact 2. The most bumbling sheriff in American television history trained at the Juilliard School and holds a black belt in karate. James Best, Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane, master of the pratfall, the man who could not catch 2 cousins in a county he was supposed to control, was one of the most technically trained actors on the series. Juilliard, serious stage experience, a black belt in karate. He spent 141 episodes playing a man who falls over a dog. Fact 3. Tom Wopat and John Schneider met for the first time through a bathroom wall. One of them had a guitar. On the day of Wopat's screen test, he went to use the men's room. From the next stall, he heard someone playing guitar. He started a conversation without knowing who was on the other side. It was Schneider. They talked about music, about the show, about Hazzard County, without ever seeing each other. Then they walked out together and performed the scene. The chemistry was immediate. Wopat still has the guitar. Fact 4. Daisy Duke was originally designed as a Dolly Parton copy. Go-go boots, white turtleneck, blonde wig. Catherine Bach looked at the costume plan and suggested her own wardrobe instead. Bach's proposal: tiny cut-off denim shorts, a crop top, cowboy boots. The producers agreed. The character she created became so iconic that her name became the generic term for that style of shorts. Dolly Parton was never consulted. She remained entirely herself. Fact 5. Dennis Quaid was almost cast as Luke Duke. He had one condition. The producers said no. Quaid wanted the role, but only if his then-wife P.J. Soles was cast as Daisy Duke alongside him. The producers had a different actress in mind for Daisy and declined the condition without negotiation. Quaid walked. Tom Wopat got the part. Then Catherine Bach invented her own costume. The producers said yes. The character she built became so recognizable that her name entered the dictionary as a clothing term. Fact 6. The General Lee's record-breaking stunt jump was filmed on the first day of production. The car was destroyed on landing. Before a single episode had aired, a stuntman launched the General Lee off a dirt ramp on the Georgia set in 1978, 16 feet high, 82 feet long, a television stunt record. The car did not survive the impact. The show had not yet broadcast one episode. They had already made automotive history and destroyed the car that made it. Fact 7. The stunt team controlled how high the General Lee jumped by loading different amounts of concrete into the trunk before each take. More weight meant a flatter arc. Less weight meant a higher climb. More concrete meant a flatter arc at higher speed. An empty trunk meant a dramatic climb. Every jump in the series was calibrated by hand, with bags of concrete, before the cameras rolled. The precision vehicle of American television history was tuned with building materials. Fact 8. The series used 309 General Lees across 7 seasons. 17 survived. Every modified 1968 or 1969 Dodge Charger, orange paint, welded doors, number 01, Confederate flag on the roof, was consumed by the production. Jump by jump, chase by chase, hard landing by hard landing. Of 309, 17 are still known to exist in any condition. John Schneider personally restored more than 20 additional Chargers in identical livery, entirely unrelated to the show. He simply wanted them preserved. 7 seasons, 309 cars, a stuntman who calibrated jumps with concrete, a sheriff trained at Juilliard, an 18-year-old who lied his way into television history. Up to here, how the series was built. From here, what happened when it ended, came back, and was remade. Fact 9. In Season 5, Wopat and Schneider walked off the show over a merchandise dispute. The studio replaced them immediately. The ratings collapsed within weeks. The replacements, Byron Cherry as Coy Duke and Christopher Mayer as Vance Duke, were color-coded versions of Bo and Luke. Same shirts, same car, same county. Fans rejected them within the first episode. Ratings fell sharply. The studio resolved the dispute and both original stars returned. Coy and Vance disappeared in the same episode Bo and Luke came back, written out without explanation, never mentioned again, as if they had never existed. Fact 10. Warner Brothers spent $17.5 million before the first day of shooting. Not on sets, not on cast, on lawyers. The film hadn't hired a single actor yet. The producer of Moonrunners, the 1975 film that originally inspired the TV series, threatened to sue. The studio paid him off. Then the show's original screenwriter filed a separate claim. Then a third party appeared. By the time cameras rolled, the production had spent more on legal settlements than on the entire first season of the original series had cost to make. Fact 11. All three original Dukes were offered cameos in the 2005 film. All three read the script. All three said no. Tom Wopat, John Schneider, Catherine Bach. Each approached individually. Each received the screenplay. Each declined, independently, without coordination, reaching the same conclusion at the same time. Schneider came to the premiere anyway, not as a cast member, not as a guest of the production, as an audience member who had read the script and still showed up. Fact 12. The General Lee was the most recognizable car in American television. The film treated it as a consumable. Each stunt car performed its jump and was written off. No restoration, no preservation. The series had given each car a number and tracked which ones survived. The film didn't bother. When production wrapped, the survivors were sold back to the original supplier for $1.25 each, less than the cost of the fuel in the tank. Fact 13. The Confederate flag on the General Lee's roof was already controversial in 2005. The film addressed it directly, a scene where the flag is booed, then cheered, then repainted. The scene satisfied nobody. 10 years later, the conversation became unavoidable. TV Land pulled reruns of the original series. Warner Brothers stopped licensing General Lee merchandise with the flag visible. The 2005 film had put the debate on screen a decade before it mattered. Fact 14. The film's drift sequence was shot at Lee Circle in New Orleans. The statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee looks directly down at the General Lee as it passes below. The production needed a circular location for the drifting sequence. Lee Circle was available and inexpensive. One camera angle captures the Confederate monument framing the car directly beneath it as it circles below. Nobody planned the shot. It exists because the location was cheap and available on the day. Fact 15. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star and placed it on his personal most hated list. The film scored 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience gave it a B+ and paid $109.8 million to see it. The 3 people who knew the material best had already given their verdict by declining to appear in it. Fact 16. John Schneider came to the premiere of a film he hadn't appeared in, featuring a version of his most famous character, after the star had apologized to him personally before the screening began. Knoxville approached him before the lights went down. "I'm sorry for how bad this is." Schneider accepted it. He watched the film. He stayed for all of it. He said later, "Television channels broadcast the 2005 movie, but won't rerun the original series. 7 seasons, 147 episodes. The man who had played Bo Duke since he was 18 years old sat in that cinema and watched someone else drive the General Lee. He stayed until the end." Bonus. The 2005 film still gets broadcast. The original series, 7 seasons, 147 episodes, the show that made the General Lee famous, has never been rerun. Hollywood kept the crash. It lost the car.